Chris, no, not right now. It's not even 2 o'clock. You'll get dinner at 3. Oh my gosh, the second I start, my cat starts screaming at me for dinner. I love you, but it's like not even time for that. We have several hours. She's like a friggin' shark. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I am Lolise, and this is our weekly Vanderpump Rules recap. Holy bananas, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. This episode was insane. Sandovals is slowly coming to light. I mean, a lot of people have their suspicions in this episode. There wasn't like, well, I was gonna say there wasn't like a ton of drama, but the finale trailer was leaked, apparently. Like, somebody leaked an incomplete version of the trailer, which forced Bravo's hand, and they actually released the full trailer. But because they know a specific version of the trailer was released that has launched an internal investigation, they think they can actually, like, pinpoint who released it. Before we really get into all of that, if you haven't already, please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon so you get a notification every time I post. And please don't send anybody that we talk about in this video any hate, negativity, nothing like that. These are just my thoughts and opinions based on what I'm seeing play out on reality television and mostly Instagram and Reddit, so various parts of the internet. So if you have something to say about what we are talking about, just shoot it down in the comments below. That's what they are there for. So yes, like I was saying before, the mid-season, well, not mid-season trailer, actually, it's the finale trailer. So it's the trailer from when Sandovals breaks and the entire cast finds out about it. It starts off with Tom saying, you know, I was gonna break up with Ariana, and Sheena's like, but you didn't. And you hooked up with her best friend, and Tom's like, oh, look away, feel bad for me. And Tom is being consoled by other Tom, and then you also see clips of him with Ariana, like, defending his friendship with Raquel, and she's like, I don't give an F about your relationship with Raquel, about your effing friendship. It's just so crazy how he defends and deflects, like, everywhere in the Howie Mandel interview, like, in the later episodes of the season last week, with that conversation with Tom at the food truck, and then as we get into this episode, it gets even more wild. And Ariana even tells Tom, I regret ever loving you, which I can understand that. We do even also see a clip of James calling Raquel and asking if she's dating Sandoval now, and she says no. We do also get a snippet of Tom going to visit Raquel, and this is going to be apparently where the kiss happens, and she just has this like devilish smile on her face when she's like, oh my god, this is going so horribly wrong. But it's quite obvious that neither one of them care about the consequences of their actions, especially when we go into what went on in this week's episode. The trailer ends with Kristen Doute making her triumphant return, at least just for this episode. Who knows if she's going to be back next season. She was on Watch What Happens Live last night, though. She even admittedly said she is very tickled to be back in the fray of the Bravo universe. However, also last night on Watch What Happens Live, she said Lisa can suck a dick. So I'm not really sure if Lisa Vanderpump would be super into her coming back to the show, considering Lisa is an executive producer. Now, it was exciting to see Kristen back on Watch What Happens Live, because it's been a very long time since she's been on anything Bravo related. I think she said like 3 years, and she looks great. However, there really wasn't a lot of like new stuff that came out. She did confirm, which I think we already knew, that she was there that night that the phone fell out of Tom's pocket and Ariana saw the video, but she had no idea what was going on and didn't actually talk to Ariana again until Friday morning. Went to get like confirmation. She like actually didn't think it was real. She also says like Ariana did not deserve this. Just because Ariana and Tom hooked up while Tom and I were together does not mean that. Like she says, Tom and I, we were together for 6 years, but we should have broken up after a year. So like I don't hold her to that. And then also in relation to everybody's claims, including mine, where it's like, Kristen, you did like very similar actions to Raquel. And she's like, look, that was 13 years ago. Like, I'm 40 years old now. Like, what? But I mean, Raquel is now that 27-year-old Kristen Doute making horrible life choices, but getting crucified even harder for it. Kristen also says like, look, I was in the mud for 2 years after that, regaining everybody's trust and friendship, because she did stab her friend Stassi in the back by sleeping with, well, the thing is that Jax was Stassi's ex, so it was a little different, but also Kristen was still in a relationship with Tom. But regardless, she says like, look, just because I did that does not mean I'm not capable capable of doing this and speaking on this and crucifying Raquel or Rachel for this. I did hear some rumor that Tom and Raquel were spotted at like some sort of pizzeria. I didn't see photos of Tom with Raquel, but I did see photos of Tom at that pizzeria, and he is apparently making bracelets for all the paparazzi. He did say somewhere that he was like making bracelets in his downtime right now, so I guess that's good productive use of his time. But I thought Raquel was in a mental institution. They let her out long enough to come and get some pizza. Apparently Raquel's Instagram was also hacked. A video of Tom dressed up as Raquel for Halloween was posted to her Instagram like a couple weeks ago. There was a post made there by her team saying, hey, this Instagram was hacked. We've been working with Instagram to get it back. We've now regained control. Raquel does not have access to social media or phone, so like she didn't know this happened, blah, 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 blah. I'm not 100% sure I believe it. I do really hope she is getting help because she does break down a lot in this episode, and I just feel like it's obvious that Raquel just does not know who she is. She is a very lost person. She's making very horrible choices, and this is not me like justifying her actions because she's making horrible choices. Anyway, let's just get into the episode. Oh, before we do, actually, we have one more bit of information, and that is that Lisa Vanderpump, Ariana, and Lala Kent attended the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and they actually had a reference made to this Sandoval. Like, the president knows about Sandoval and Ariana Madix. What world are we living in? It's crazy. And Ariana laughed. This was like her first, I think this was actually like her first real public appearance, like red carpet appearance since Sandoval broke. So I think going with Lisa Vanderpump and Lala Kent were perfect support systems for her. She said in a red carpet interview that Lisa Vanderpump is like her fairy godmother. All three of them looked beautiful. I don't know what Ariana and Lisa Vanderpump were wearing, but I know Lala was wearing a 2013 Zach Posen. I don't know if that's how you say his last name. Posen? It just seems right. They all looked beautiful. I believe that Ariana also had Lala's makeup artist do her makeup because her face looked gorgeous. Like her beat was amazing. Both her and Lisa had these gorgeous capes. Lala just had a strapless dress. They all three looked high fashion, glamorous, loved it. They also got to tour the White House and see like the cabinet room and whatnot, and they got to meet Jill Biden, Dr. Jill Biden, excuse me. Dr. Jill Biden, let's not forget that woman is a doctor. That's so exciting for them to just be invited to this. And I believe they said they were invited by the Daily Mail. So that's why not like the whole cast was there. Daily Mail probably just invited those three. Once again, it's like now the sky is the limit for Ariana because she's so much lighter now, dropping that dead weight of Tom. But yeah, I think that's kind of like all the catching up before the episode that we need to do. So let's get into this. This is the 13th episode of the season. Now the finale is I think supposed to go up the 17th is when it airs, and then we will have, I don't even know how many parts this reunion is gonna have now because we have the individual interviews. I'm assuming it would probably be on average like 3 parts, but like I have no idea. And then Peacock is also gonna somehow get involved and have like an extra special. The solo interviews might be on that, so we'll see how it works. I am also gonna be taking a vacation like around that time, so I might combine 2 parts of the reunion together, or I might just have a more unedited version that I film on my phone where I'm on vacation. You guys can see where I'm going. Anyway, let's get into the episode because we ended last week, like the whole recap is talking about the Raquel and Tom Sandoval thing, and then it ends with the confessional of asking Tom if he's ever been physical with Raquel, and you know, he's got that like grin of like, no, we've never been physical. And this episode is starting off with the Toms and Ariana and Raquel in a car. Tom Sandoval is driving. Lisa Vanderpump calls them and she asks like, where are you going? And Raquel says, oh, we're going glamping for my birthday. Which is fun and all, but really the Toms should be working on their restaurant, right? They went on a trip to Mexico and didn't get anything done, and they've come back and it's been nothing but stressful. But sure, go away for like a mini vacation when you should be like busting your ass at your business to try and get it open. Anyway, they arrive at glamping and Sheena and Brock have actually met up with them there, and they kind of give them like a little tour of everything. Sheena is just not into any kind of camping of any sort, but she's gonna be a good sport for her bestie Raquel and Ariana just got back from home after the death of her grandmother and laying her to rest. They get the tour. Like I said, there's like these yurts for them to stay in. So they have one for the boys, one for the girls. They show them around. There's a bunch of like animals, farm animals, pigs, chickens, goats, I'm assuming. So it looks like fun. They get to like interact with the animals, have a good time. I think they have snacks for them. Oh yeah, they give them like pumpkins, and Ariana cannot smash a pumpkin. It's kind of adorable. Then we go back to LA and we are in Lala's office in downtown LA, and James comes in, and this, I don't know, I feel like this clip was definitely staged, of course. I almost wonder if this was something that was added in a little bit later, just because of how the discussion and this whole scene goes. What I did think was interesting is Lala's shirt is blurred out the entire time, so I was wondering, like, what is she wearing? So yeah, they discuss the beach, they discuss Schwartz and the whole fight with him, and then they discuss Sandoval, and Lala tells James, you know that Raquel, like, stayed the night at his house that night, right? At Sandoval's house. And James immediately says, how do you know this information? And then we now get a whole rewind narration of Lala laying this whole thing out for us. So Lala tells him that Katie told her that she found this out while she was over at Villa Rosa at Lisa Vanderpump's house. They were making sandwiches, kind of like doing taste testing and stuff, seeing like what kind of ingredients they liked. And Ken Todd, Lisa's husband, comes in and says, I cannot believe that Sandoval had Raquel stay over night while Ariana's out of town. And of course you can tell this is kind of staged, like the way Ken comes in and says this to Lisa, which makes sense because Lisa is an executive producer of the show and she has this information. She needs to get this information into the hands of her talent so they can do their job and make the show continue to flourish. She, I feel like, was looking at that very much as from an executive producer point of view. And Katie is like, what? What, is that true? Are you just spreading gossip? And he like leaves, and Lisa's like, no, like that's true. I told him. And Katie's like, you need to tell me everything. What are you talking about? And so Lisa says that Raquel was late to a SIR taste testing because she was hungover from going to Sandovals and getting in the jacuzzi and then ended up staying the night. And in this interaction of her being late and everything is actually on film. Like, this was a set up film situation. Like, Lisa's there, her other business partner is there, like I think the restaurant manager, Charlie, the other server, is there. You get to see Raquel's walk of shame in. I'm just like, holy crap. And when Raquel tells Lisa why she's late, that she went back to Tom's and her and both Tom's got in the jacuzzi, and then she stayed the night there on the couch, Lisa looks very upset. Raquel's like, look, I know the optics are bad, but like, we didn't do anything. And Lisa's like, it looks terrible. It doesn't matter. You shouldn't have done it. And you know, Raquel, like, she says nothing happened. Totally lying. Totally lying. And so Lala is continuing to like narrate this, like very much like a Gossip Girl or like Desperate Housewives style. And she says, Lisa can smell bullshit from a mile away. So after they finish the taste testing, she actually FaceTimes Tom Schwartz, but she knows Schwartz and Sandoval are together. And Sandoval is driving, and she asks him, like, what is this about Raquel staying at your place? And that's why she was late to work. And they kind of laugh, and Lisa's like, this isn't funny. Sandoval actually starts to stumble over his words and his excuses, saying like, well, she like dipped out early, that she like kind of left early. And Lisa is like, point blank, did she stay the night at your house? Yes or no? Because he's like going back and forth and being wishy-washy with what he's saying to her. And so he finally says, yes, but dude, like, and she's like, no, I'm not dude. But he keeps calling her dude because he's getting defensive. That's what Tom Sandoval does, I've noticed. When he is getting defensive, when he's been caught in something, he's like, dude, what the fuck? Dude, no, dude. And he can't stop doing it. He keeps saying it to Lisa, and she's like, I'm not your dude. And he's like, Lisa, we have people stay over all the time. Like, he uses that as an excuse. And Lisa says, yes, but your wife is out of town, and Raquel is a beautiful single girl. You shouldn't be having her stay the night while she's out of town. And the interesting thing is Tom actually doesn't correct Lisa when Lisa calls her Ariana his wife. And that just shows how much everybody in the group saw them as life partners, as practically married. And he keeps being defensive to Lisa, but you know, it doesn't really go much of anywhere, and that's kind of like the end of Lala's Gossip Girl saga. And then James actually tells Lala that he and Sandoval went to like this weed smoking lounge, kind of like a cigar bar, but like for weed, or I guess like a regular bar, really. And Tom told him that, like, yeah, we all went back and got in the jacuzzi, but then Raquel dipped early, and then literally less than 2 minutes later, he said that Raquel and Schwartz stayed the night at his house because their dogs were there. And James is like, wait, what? You just told me that they left, but now you're saying they stayed the night? And he's like, no, I mean, like, she dipped, like she went to bed, she went to my room, I mean, like, she went into my guest room, whatever. Is that a Freudian slip or what? And James, though he is probably high, is unconvinced of what Sandoval is telling him. And Lala actually brings up the Labor Day barbecue that Brittany and Jax talked about, the one where it was the day that Ariana found out her grandmother passed, and she called Tom, and he didn't leave the party for another several hours. Yeah, Lala was at that party, Sheena was at that party, Raquel was at that party. Lala says Ariana was calling and calling. She was very upset because he was telling her that he couldn't get a ride back when he just stayed for another couple of hours. And she says, yeah, Ariana was calling and calling and was very upset with him because her grandmother just died and he can't find a ride home, when in reality, he just stayed for another like 2 hours to hang out with Raquel. So James and Lala are putting the pieces together before Sandoval ever broke, and they determine that Sandoval has a thing for Raquel. They don't say this, but obviously, like, Raquel likes the attention that Sandoval is giving her. Lala also points out the last time that Sandoval talked about a woman like he's talking about Raquel was when he would talk about Ariana when he was dating Kristen. And actually in Watch What Happens Live, Kristen was like, truer words have never been spoken. That is 100% facts. So James and Lala do speculate like something's going on between Tom and Ariana. Not necessarily like the open relationship rumor that's going on, but something is happening. And then we're taken back to our glamping site, the glamping crew. The guys, you know, have taken 1 year and the girls have taken the other, but they'll all just kind of hang out. They go out to lunch and they cheers for Raquel's birthday. She's turning 28. She's the only one of the group who is still in her 20s. She's not even in her 30s yet. And this is one of the cringiest parts of the episode, is the confessional with Raquel. I actually wrote down exactly what she said. She says in the confessional, I feel like these people here are my true core people, my forever friends, the people looking out for me, believing in me. It means everything to me. Yeah, and your actions completely negate every word you just said there, except for like in relation to Tom Sandoval. Like, cause she's literally stabbing the other side of the table in the back right now. She's already hooking up with Sandoval, and Schwartz knows about it. There's no way. Sheena asks how it was to go home and see family, and while they're talking about this, it kind of made me think of this interesting point that I hadn't really thought about. I don't remember where I heard this from, but it speaks volumes about the fact that Tom didn't go with Ariana at her grandmother's passing. Instead, he chose to stay at a Labor Day party and then stay home so he could hop in a jacuzzi with Schwartz and Raquel while Ariana is burying her grandmother. He does not care to be there for Ariana in her time of need or Ariana's family. Like, I cannot imagine having a life partner that wouldn't do that for me. Like, if my husband was not there for me when my grandmother died, because like a lot of us, we are very close with our grandmothers, I would be so furious if he wasn't there for me. But it just shows that he doesn't care. And sure, like, they vacation without each other, but this wasn't a vacation. This was Ariana going home to mourn the loss of a loved one, and he did not care to be there for her because he doesn't care about anybody but himself. And Ariana gets very emotional. You know, she says she's had a really hard summer with first losing her dog and then her grandmother. Like, she is barely hanging on. And then the other side of the table of the Toms and Raquel are just kind of sitting there like bumps on a log, where Sheena and Brock are actually consoling her, hugging her. You know, Brock saying, you know, your grandmother is here with us now. She's always with you. Like, these two people are ride or die, and that table over there can just go jump in the campfire for all I care. Then Ariana asks if anything happened while she was gone. Like, I'm assuming Tom probably told her his version of stuff, but she's also got to get like stuff flowing because she was talked about while she was gone. You know, we got to move the pace of the story along a little bit. So immediately Raquel jumps up and tells her like, yeah, I came home to your house and got in the jacuzzi with your pretty much husband and, you know, his friend. And then I stayed the night, but I just stayed on the couch. Sheena's like, but you told Brock that she left early. And he's like, yeah, I just, with the optics, with like the whole rumors of like me and Raquel being too close and then Schwartz and Raquel making out, we just thought it probably would be better if people like just didn't know that one bit of information. But Ariana's like, why didn't you just go sleep in the guest room instead of on the couch? Like the couch is like not nearly as comfortable as one of the many beds. Honey, it's because she didn't sleep on the couch. It's because she slept in your bed with your man. We know this. And it was while you were, you know, laying your grandmother to rest that all this was going on. I would just be so furious if this is what my partner was doing while I was back home mourning. But everybody laughs it off, and you can see the relief on Tom's face because he's like, got away with that one, fantastic. Then we get a Give Them Lala Cosmetics photo shoot that is starring Lala, of course, and Christina Kelly and Katie. And it looks fun. They're just in towels and sunglasses and head wraps and stuff. Afterwards, they're hanging out and they're still just hanging out in the robes. And Christina Kelly's like, hey, I'm having an event at Tom Tom. I'm just gonna be showing some of my skincare products. So we grab bags. You guys should totally come. And she's gonna invite everybody. She invites everybody. Christina Kelly also asks them, like, what did your dates think about the beach day? Because remember, they both brought people who are not part of this group to this beach party and things got crazy. Katie says her date Satchel was kind of traumatized and he didn't understand why everybody was being so mean to her. And Katie's like, and now it's stupid that Tom is trying to spin that I am trying to spread some sort of narrative about his relationship with Ariana just because I find his behavior with Raquel suspicious. And Lala says, look, like the whole open relationship thing is really not that far-fetched. I mean, I hooked up with Ariana in the back of a car while Tom was driving it. We hadn't been in a car. I'm sure Tom would have been all up in that as well. Then back at the Glamp site, Ariana and Sheena kind of like go off and explore a little bit. And then they start chatting and Sheena kind of fills Ariana in on exactly what was going on because remember, Tom probably filled her in a little bit on stuff and Ariana does say that Katie reached out to her, but she didn't understand exactly what was happening. So Sheena fills her in on the entire rumor, all the beach day stuff, the whole Abby situation and how it turned into Ellie telling Katie, and then that Katie is saying they're in an open relationship or they have no rules. And Sheena says like, I'm just really disappointed that Katie is starting this rumor about your relationship. And Ariana is starting to fall into that narrative that Katie just really hates Raquel so much that she doesn't care who gets caught in the crossfire. And that hurts Ariana because she is going into business with Katie. And I just hate that Ariana and Sheena are just falling victim to this narrative that just makes Tom look like he's innocent. It's so hard. It's so hard to watch. Day becomes night with the glamping crew and they actually get a dinner like the people at this ranch. That's kind of what it looks like. Cook them a dinner and they make homemade ranch and Raquel's dumb ass spills all the ranch. It's actually a pretty lighthearted dinner but still so awkward because we know what's going on between Raquel and Sandoval. Ariana asks, you know, since it's Raquel's birthday, she's turning 28. She says, what was your peach and pit of being 27? And she says it's both a peach and a pit, but ending her engagement to James, but also it was a peach because it introduced her to all of them and she loves all of these people. They're like her forever friend. And Sandoval gives like a super passionate speech about how awesome Raquel is. Sheena then gets a text from Christina Kelly inviting her to the skincare event. Other people are unsure if they've been invited. Of course, the Toms know about it because it is going to be at Tom Tom, their restaurant. Ariana's like, I haven't seen my phone, so I don't know. And Raquel's like, I don't think I'm invited. However, Schwartz says, you know, you can be my +1, you can be my date. Like, if Christina Kelly doesn't want her there, then she doesn't want her there. And it's also like Schwartz is really trying to push Katie's buttons by being like, yeah, be my date, let's go. So then they go to the fire pit. Sheena actually texts Christina Kelly if Raquel can come because Schwartz kind of like backtracks and is like, you know what, I'm thinking about it and Katie is already like super mad at me. Maybe I shouldn't have you be like my +1, my friend date. But then Christina Kelly's like, Raquel can come. It's fine. So he's a little in the clear with Katie. Not really, though. And at the fire pit, Raquel is reflecting more because now, you know, she's aged out of pageants. She spent her whole life, like, mapping up into being in pageants her whole life. And now, essentially, she's lost. She doesn't really know who she is. She's always had to uphold this certain reputation, and she says now she's making up for lost time. She pretty much just took that reputation, crumpled it in a ball, and threw it into that fire pit. She did a complete 180 on it. Ariana, you know, says so many wonderful things to build Raquel up. She says she is role model material. Hindsight, hindsight, hindsight. And then Tom presents her with a gift from him and Ariana, and it is vintage Versace sunglasses. She does not deserve those. Then they go back to the yurt, and somebody, either one of the Toms, 'cause I think they both have this, or Raquel, bring those galaxy light things, and they're like hanging out in the yurt, and like, okay, it is kind of cool. I've seen cooler ones though, ones that actually look like the galaxy instead of this like rainbow galaxy thing. And the next day they pack all their stuff up and they are heading back to Los Angeles, because actually that very next day is Christina Kelly's skincare event. So we get a couple cute scenes with some of the ladies and moms. We see Katie's mom is in town, and Katie's mom will actually be going to the event later, and then we see Lala hanging out with her mom, and they're like talking about sex in like a really funny like mom and daughter way. They're both very endearing scenes. And we get a little clip of Allie with James. Really didn't see much of Allie this week. They're talking about the beach day, and he's like, I'm sorry for embarrassing you. She's like, you didn't embarrass me, you embarrassed yourself like all day. You were just fighting with people nonstop. It was like fight after fight after fight. And James is very adamant that he is over the whole Raquel and Schwartz things, and Allie is not buying it. I don't blame her. I don't buy it either. He's very worked up about it. Then we arrive at Christina Kelly's skincare event, and it actually looks really lovely. I kind of want to try some of her skincare. It's called Heart Spring, so I'll be looking it up online to see what there is, if there's anything that I mean, I love a good toner and I love a good body scrub. People are arriving and like checking everything out. Schwartz arrives, and Katie is just shooting daggers at him. And then Sandoval, Ariana, and Raquel arrive, and Lala says, like, are they a throuple? Like, this is just very confusing, the dynamic. And I will say the three of them kind of coordinate together in, like, the edgy black clothing. However, I hate Raquel's outfit, and it's not because it's Raquel's outfit. It's because I've just never liked the baggy pants with the thong pulled up really high over your hips. It gives very much Lita from WWE, like early 2000s, which is what the look is supposed to do, but I just never liked that look. So I liked her top. I just wish like the bottom aspect looked cooler, because she could look way better. Raquel is a very pretty girl. So Ariana and Katie sit privately, and they talk about like, what is this rumor thing that's going around, and what did Katie exactly say? Because there's an elephant in the room that these two need to address. And so she explains like the whole Abby thing, and Ariana's like, look, like, we're starting a business together, but she's also loves and trusts Raquel as a friend, and loves and trusts her boyfriend. Don't do it. Katie says, I hope she's a good friend to you, but I find it hard to believe that she could be a good friend to some people and then be really shitty and do what she did to like other people. Like, once again, because Katie is very much like, I don't trust her too much when she's drinking around somebody else's man. And you know, Lala is of course agreeing with that statement. Though Lala's not in this conversation, but we know where she stands. But both Katie and Ariana agree, like, they don't want this to come between them. They are business partners. They love each other. They respect each other. And in the end, through this whole Sandovals stuff, Katie has been there for Ariana 100%. Never an I told you so, at least not seeing that publicly. For some reason, Raquel is alone at a table, and James, for some reason, comes up to talk to her. It's a very staged thing. He compliments her purse. She's like, thanks, yep, I still carry it. He did not even realize that he had given that to her as a gift. The whole conversation is weird because she's heard that he said Rachella was, that he regretted it, and that he basically regretted proposing to her and regretted their relationship because she doesn't live in regret. And he's not gonna change his mind, because in his mind he's like, yeah, I see who you are, and like, you're not the person for me. They both agree that Raquel has changed. Like, both him and Raquel agree with that, and he doesn't like the person that she's changed into. I'm also just not sure what the point of this conversation was like at all. Once again, it seemed very staged. Towards the end of the night, Lala and Ariana are at the table. Christina Kelly's like, grab a grab bag, get a goodie bag, here's some bags, put whatever you want in it. It's all free. Like, I'm so jealous. They catch up and talk about how much Ariana has been facing this summer. And Lala brings up the Labor Day barbecue because she just wants some kind of clarification. And Ariana says, yeah, when I was talking to him, he told me that Jason had already left, so he didn't have a ride. Because he also made the excuse that, like, no Ubers were going to come and get him that day. They were just, like, too busy, I guess, which I can kind of understand that in Los Angeles on Labor Day. But Lala says, don't you think that it's weird that he didn't just, like, leave with Jason when Jason left, like, left at that time? And Ariana's like, well, he said he didn't know that Jason left. And Lala's like, no, he definitely knew that Jason left. So Ariana calls Tom over and confronts him about Labor Day party and why he didn't leave with Jason. And essentially is like, look, I caught you in a lie. You lied about not knowing when he left because you just wanted to stay longer and hang out. Like, that's what it looks like. Because he just lied to her about not having a ride when she was asking him to come home and console her over the loss of her grandmother. Tom is totally caught and he like teeters around and kind of is like stumbling, and then he's like, yeah, well, I just thought you would want some time alone. She's calling for you to come home and you're saying, well, I just thought you might want some alone time to process it. She didn't. She wanted you to console her. Ariana brings up the fact that before they ever started dating, when they were just friends, Ariana's dad passed away. And when that happened, Tom thought it was super important for him to drop everything and to be with Ariana and to be there for her and to console her, because then he cared about her. But now he couldn't have cared less to be there for her in any way, shape, or form to help her mourn the loss of her grandmother. It's because he doesn't care about her anymore. He has only ever cared about himself, and now he doesn't want to devote any of his energy to her needs. He would rather be at a Labor Day barbecue than be there with her, or he'd rather be in a jacuzzi with Tom Schwartz and Raquel than be there for her in her time of need. Also, pretty much the entire episode, Tom has been wearing this lightning bolt necklace. Interesting. And in the next episode preview, it seems like there is a lot of Tom and Raquel trying to plant seeds of troubles in Tom and Ariana's relationship. Like, Ariana is talking to Raquel. I just don't think it's reasonable for you to like not have sex with your partner. And Ariana's like, how about you actually work a real day in your life and then come home and try to not have any kind of foreplay and just have your partner whip it out and be like, yeah, let's go. No, honey, it doesn't happen. And we also see Katie exploding on Raquel. Go, Katie. So this episode was crazy. Next episode's gonna be crazy. And then the week after that is the actual Sandovals finale. Anyway, that is it for today's video. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I will have some more videos coming out for you guys shortly. I will see you next time. Laters. Bye.